want to make that point.
Part of the fake news media. I'm also drinking with my Ole Miss cup. So
oh Lord. Are we gonna talk about the Kylan rumors or you don't want to talk about those?
Hey, we could talk about that all we want to. I don't care.
Okay.
Everybody, I mean, at this point, everybody didn't heard it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay, so I'm drinking some Earl Grey tea, right? And the flavor on it is like so complex. Like I like it. And I don't even drink hot tea, but this is all right. Let me flip it to the other side. Because since we in an abusive relationship with Mississippi State.
Well, you were 0-2 today, Arthur.
I'm not anything today.
Huh?
No, I'm 0-1 today is what I am. I don't know nothing about no 0-2.
As far as that cup you got.
I worked here. I actually worked here, so that is what it is.
Well, you're 0-1, your cup's 0-1.
Right. If Lynn Wu of the Center for Population Studies at Ole Miss is watching right now, salute for the cup. And I hope she still has the cowbell that I bought her. Because I got her a cowbell. It was like a little small cowbell. And last I checked, she actually still had in her office. So
yes, indeed.
I hope she remembers me forever. I was making myself some hot wings too. But we had to do this instead. So what else? All right, so let me see if I can share this.
Show your turn it to gallery view because all I can see is you.
All you can see is me. That's the only thing anybody need to see. Did nobody come to see you, Derek?
Yeah, but
I changed it to my Twitter name. No, not King Arthur. King Arthur J. King Arthur J. There we go. All right, so Jeremy is not here today. I feel like at the beginning of Scarface when Castro was talking and he was like, we don't want them, we don't need them. Like, bro, if you don't want to come, you be all right. Okay, so sad hood movie today, all right? Sad hood movie. So Black Dog Sports Podcast, or make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What the name of that other thing is? Shucks. Wait. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Did I say Instagram already? YouTube. Yeah. That's it. YouTube. So everybody be acting like they don't know how to spell it, so I'm gonna put it on like the notepad or whatever and just see where it take me. You feel me? So wait a second. Hold on. Okay. So on any of these sites, it's gonna be Black Dogs. I couldn't even do the @ sign right. Lord. Okay, @ Black Dogs. I can't spell it. Dog on iPhone. Okay, wait a second. Black Dogs Podcast. I'm gonna just put it into the. Can I make it bigger? Like, how do I change the size? It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna just put it into the like that. And it's backward, big fella. Oh my God.
Just share your put it over and share your screen, Arthur.
I'm not about to share a doggone thing. You got me. I feel like when I was at Ole Miss, we used to do presentations and stuff like that all the time. And folks would be like, hey, do you mind if I use your computer so that I can? I'm like, look here, fam. This is my personal computer. I have no idea what's going to pop up at any given time. So no, you cannot use my computer. Somebody who I'm not going to name had a picture of somebody's junk to pop up in the middle of class. So whatever. All right. So we are here for a venting session, right? And I feel as though that this is why people listen to the Black Dog Sports Podcast. I mean, you can go and listen to analysis of the game and reactions of the game from anybody. People come to us for the rawness, okay? They come for the streets. You know, that's where I'm from, the streets. So, what went
Beanville
wrong?
streets.
What went wrong? Okay. So, matter of fact, let's talk about what went right first. Okay. Let's talk about the positives.
We're going with the positives first.
Going with the positives first. So, Will Rogers, they scored a touchdown. He looked pretty good. I mean, well, he didn't look as bad as KJ Costello. Let's put it this way. And as somebody in the group, as Ken pointed out in the group, not Kendrick Vivian's, another Ken. Miraculously, the blocking seemed to be a lot better.
Yeah.
When Will Rogers was in the game. So there's questions as to whether that was about the fact that they have more confidence in him or whatever the case may be.
Well, I mean, it could have been the defense too. The look the defense was giving as well. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean, okay. So, what did you think about Will Rogers today?
I mean, he was 15 to 18, 120 yards and a touchdown. He looked very, very poised in the game. I mean, Texas A&M basically either drop or rush 3, drop 8 all game long most of the time. But he was able to find Malik Heath for that 32-yard touchdown pass and catch and run. So I mean, really, with him winning the belt in the whatever quarterback competition they got going on, when it came to game time competition, Will Rogers outshined KJ Costello today. He deserves to start when we play Alabama.
Wait, when do we play Alabama?
In 2 weeks.
Okay, so we got a bye week coming up.
Let me make sure. I think it's a bye week. Let me go make sure. But yeah, the next game is Alabama.
Okay, and that's 2 weeks from now.
Let me make sure. Let's get onto the calendar. And slow Mac, I got. Yeah, October 31st. So yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay, so
at Alabama too. So we gonna be on the road.
Oh, and it's on Halloween.
It's in Tuscaloosa. Yep, Halloween night. Can we get Bushwick Bill or Ghetto Boys to come? Stop Alabama, help us beat Alabama.
Man, I don't know what to say, man. I was, and the funny thing is that I was thinking about. I had the perfect alternative. I probably going to see Rocky Horror Picture Show at Highland Village, but they want too much. They was like, you got to buy 4 tickets, and I'm like, how about not? Like, I just want to go, me and my date, and that's it. But instead, y'all tired. We gotta have 4 tickets, and you know how,
So they're trying to make their money.
We got too many. I think it's too many Caucasian people who watch this for me to say. You know what I'm gonna go on here say. You know how your mans and them can be, where you be like, oh, 4 people, and then they be like, yeah, man, go on ahead, pay for it. We'll pay you back. Like, nah, guy. We ain't playing that.
Let's get back. Let's get back on the football game, Arthur.
Need you to cash out me in advance, okay?
Let's get back on the football game, Arthur.
Man, don't nobody care about this football game. Okay. So the defense looked good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on what your definition of good is. But they gave up like maybe say 2 organic touchdowns. And the rest had more to do with the fact that they were put in like really, really bad field position. So the way I look at it is, they did pretty good. I mean, they did good with the hand that they were dealt. Okay.
Right.
Because we could have got blown the freak out.
And I really thought we were gonna give up about 40 points today.
Yeah, I thought that we were about to get mollywopped.
So I mean, Kellen Mond didn't really have a big day. I mean, the running back
fake news, which I've said on this show several times.
Spiller had 2 touchdowns rushing. He had over 100 yards rushing, but did not have the performance he had against Florida against our defense. So I mean, congratulations to Forbes for getting his first career pick 6, getting us on the board with that pick 6. I mean, at that point, the defense had outscored the offense over 2 games, 8-0.
I know, right?
So I mean, the defense really, aside from that long pass that Munn had, the defense really played very solid. I mean, kudos to Zach Arnett for getting our boys prepared every week, even though our offense has been struggling. If we can get some points scored or consistent offensive presence, it's possibly we could beat 3-1. I mean, we had a chance if the offense could have gotten something going. I mean, the defense played well enough for us to beat Texas A&M. Real talk, you know. I
I feel as
mean,
though if our offense wasn't just complete ASS, then we would probably be undefeated.
yeah, I mean, yeah, because when you look at how our defense played against Texas A&M, we played them better than Florida did, and for us to still be in the game, like when we scored that touchdown, 20-14, there was enough time to where if we could have scored quickly again, we tied the game. So the game was not out of reach until we just couldn't get anything else going. So, imagine if Will Rogers played the whole game. What would the outcome have been different? Would we have scored more points? I really think so. We would have scored more points with him playing the whole game versus starting off with KJ. And I mean, KJ couldn't even when he wasn't throwing interceptions, he was dropping the ball on the ground. Man, was the pigskin too hot for him to hold? I mean, hot pigskin. I normally it's hot potato, but he had a hot pigskin in his hand. But kudos to KJ for this though. He did run more this game.
He looked
I was
awful.
surprised.
He looked awful doing it.
He
But see, the thing
did.
with Peyton is that he's a pure pocket passer, and the O line gave him nothing on a lot of those plays. It was like as soon as the ball was snapped, somebody was in his face. So, what do you do about that now? Once again, as Ken pointed out, for some reason they didn't have as many of those problems when Will Rogers came to the game. But whatever, the allegation is that Will Rogers knows the air raid. They ran in high school. He was kind of tutoring people on it over the summer and stuff like that. So he's more of a fit. Now, I'm going to talk about the fake news media a little bit later in this little post-game thing. But for now, I just want to say, how many freaking times are the commentators going to point out that Will Rogers went to the same high school as Gardner Minshew? And see, that's what I've been saying the whole time. I'm like, dude, this man hadn't done anything other than go to the same
The
high
man
school.
threw 38 touchdowns and 3 interceptions his senior year, Arthur. Like I've told you before, just because you did not know who Will Rogers was in high school does not mean he is not a talented quarterback or that he was not deserving of his recruiting status. Now, what I think has helped Will Rogers is the relationship that he has had probably with Gardner Minshew to help him learn the offense. I will say that because,
Now,
hey, these are Brandon high school quarterbacks. If you don't think that they talk about things within that offense, of course, pretty sure that Gardner Minshew makes time to help Will Rogers out with questions he has in the Leach offense. That's just my opinion.
you know what? I'm just gonna put it out there. Um, I feel as though that the black delegation needs to make more of a push with Moose Maiden. From what I understand, this dude came from a pass happy offense,
He did.
also out of Texas, and he's a veteran. He just because he's black, I'm gonna assume that he can run. I know that
Now, he,
sounds
he could
racist.
run. He could run in high school. He ran. He ran. He was a dual threat
Exactly.
quarterback in high school.
So, man, wouldn't it be great if we had a guy on the team who is used to passing and can also run the ball that could do something about the whole rush 3, drop 8 deal? But whatever, so what if last year they paid for somebody to take the test for them while they was at the game? Let he who is without sin cast the first rock, and I shout smoketh it. Okay, so we got to get over that. That's just me. We got to get over that.
Yeah.
So let's get to the part that y'all really wanted to see, because we didn't want to bury the lead. Because if we would have talked about what went wrong first, y'all would have just left. Okay? So what went wrong? Now I have a list of things that went wrong.
Go down
3
your
things
list.
that went wrong. We gonna go down the list. We starting off. KJ Costello, bring that ass here, boy.
And leave him on
Um,
the bench where he belongs.
yeah, you're fake news. I said that you were fake news from the word go. I said, why is this guy who was at Stanford, who was supposed to be so great and who was supposed to be this first round draft pick, get beat out at his position at Stanford and end up at Mississippi State University? But everybody said, well, he
He
got
got
hurt.
hurt.
And what happened was the guy behind him is actually
Younger.
good and blah blah. I'm like, man, get the freak out of here. I'm like, once again, potential first round draft picks do not get beat out by dudes and end up having a transfer. Okay. Now, in the LSU game, he was like as advertised, like, he was, got a big frame or whatever, carried himself pretty good, looked confident or whatnot. And I just don't know what happened. Now, apparently when he was at Stanford, he threw 18 interceptions. So him throwing interceptions isn't anything new. But yeah, I mean, with KJ Costello, I don't know if it's just that, because another problem is that even when he does get going, it kind of puts me in the mind of what they used to say about Peyton Manning when he first started off in the NFL. And they were like, as he drives down the field, at some point he's going to screw up and throw an interception or something. So even when he does look good, he'll just randomly throw an interception and it negates everything that he did. The first drive, was it the first drive? Whichever drive it was where he threw that interception is like case in point. He had a pretty good drive going. He was making all the throws and stuff like
Yep.
that.
That was
And
on. I
then,
think it was on first down too when he threw that interception. Just
right,
got
and
a.
then he just randomly threw an interception into the end zone, and nobody knows why. So that's kind of my issue with KJ. Is like, I kept waiting out, like, okay, well, he's adjusting to the system, or another thing is that everybody kept maintaining that he's perfect for the air raid, he's tailor made for it, and whatever. Or is it just because I said running for, like somebody said that this boy is not running for anything. Oh, he's lumbering for his life because the offensive line has people in his face the entire time. I don't know what's going on with the boy, but Mississippi State University was not the spot for him. I feel as though that the fake news media suckered us into going with him. But that's all state staying. What about you, Derek?
Well, I'm like this here. I mean, as far as efficiency wise, he was efficient passing the football. Um, it's just like it looks painful seeing him. He was 15 to 22%. Wise, that's what you want. But his decision making as far as, the interceptions and just holding on to the ball too long. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I can blame the offense line completely, but I know that's what we're going to talk about next. Um, but it just didn't click with him in the game. I mean, we could not get the ball down the field. And when Rodgers comes in, we get a touchdown. You know, he was able to find receivers open in the drop eight coverage. Still didn't really do much running the ball. Marks led us with 7 carries for 25 yards, finished with -2 yards rushing because of KJ Costello's 9 attempts for -27 yards. Most of them because of sacks. So it's just weird seeing this stat line like this, with us having so many negative yardage as far as in a running game. So I really feel like that Will Rodgers deserves to start, whether he wins the belt again for the rest of the season. He's earned the right by his performance in this game.
Right. Okay. So we got Mr. Jeremy Short who's trying to come in. I feel as though that he knows the rules.
Let him
Well,
in. Let
I
him
guess
in.
he be talking too long, man.
Let him
Whatever.
in. That's your
Let's go.
CPF.
We just extended the show by 30 minutes.
That's your CPF. You can't. You
So
can't. include him.
We've been talking about
What are you eating? Ramen
what is this
noodles?
man doing? And it's in a plastic container.
What are you eating? Ramen noodles?
Cereal.
That is so
Cereal?
bachelor pad. And it looked like you had some spaghetti in there before.
What's wrong with being? I'm a bachelor. What's wrong with being a bachelor? Right now, wrong with being a bachelor. Let that man eat his cereal. How he want to eat his cereal?
Come on, man. In the plastic thing that it looked like he was storing spaghetti in.
And
All right.
Like, man, I see that red ring going around it. You got to put a little taste of bleach up in there for to get that red out of it.
I'll be all right.
Okay, so Jeremiah, we were just talking about how the positives of the game. What are some positives that you took away from it?
Honestly, I know I was telling someone after I left the watch party or toward the end of the watch party, it was just kind of good to see the offense not be so frustrated and actually look like the offense supposed to look when Will got in there. Now, I'm not going to hype up the backup quarterback and like KJ sucked and all this stuff, but if anything, you can see that the offense just looks smoother with Will in there because it seems like he knows the offense. And you can tell the difference. KJ's a little slower to process stuff. He don't move in the pocket. Like some of them sacks were on him. Like he's just not as quick on the uptick. So I think that was the one positive I could say. I think Will Rogers is our quarterback for sure going forward. I think to have KJ as our starter would be a little, I don't know, stupid at this point.
Right. Wait, can y'all even hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, Jeremiah, while we on the subject, what are some things? Well, what do you think about KJ? You already kind of touched on a little bit, but as far as things that went wrong, what was his role in screwing up the game for us?
I think like by the end of the game, I don't know how I told somebody, I was like, I think he got a case of the yips. Now it sounds silly, but he just looked like, it was like that fumble before I think he got pulled. He just is making mistakes that are inexplicable and don't make any sense. It's like he just, I don't know. He got a case of yips. Because going forward, truth be told, he wouldn't even be my number 2 quarterback. It's just that real. He played a huge role in losing the game. I think the hard part, it's kind of hard to judge our team because we haven't gotten in rhythm on offense, and it's hurting the defense because they're having to go out there and basically play lights out. And if the offense is moving the ball and being more in rhythm to start the game, the defense may even do better than what they are. So they haven't had the pressure to go out there and pitch shutout. So a lot of it is on KJ. He don't release the ball. Like that first interception, we were moving the ball, and he sit up there and tried to take a chance. It's like he wants to get on SportsCenter or something. It's like I would have pulled him after that personally, but I think it's a lot of it's on him, and I definitely think with a bye week, this is the perfect time to make a shift at your starting quarterback position. Don't go, we're name a starter on game day. You got to make a clean break and let Will Rogers be your guy going forward. We're going to struggle with a young quarterback.
Now, since Jeremiah got his bowl of cereal, I figured I'd go ahead and get my wings together. This is post-game, you feel me? Now, O-line, Derek, I know that you're passionate about this because you was on the bench for a few years at Callaway. So go ahead and talk to us about like the role that the offensive line has played in this whole fiasco.
Well, outside the LSU game, for some odd reason, our 5 offensive linemen cannot block 3. And against Texas A&M, they blitzed. I think they had like 6 sacks against us, and they were just like poor Sharp. He just got tornadoed. That guy blew past him so quick. I was like, man, what's going on? Then Dollar Bill goes down, and you got to find out why we cannot block 3 guys. If we got to start stepping forward instead of dropping back in the pass, something. We got to do something. Because if 3 guys are beating 5, somebody's head is not on a swivel. So, the offensive line really, really, outside of KJ's interception, could be the more. I guess you could say they're to blame for this loss because 1, we couldn't run the ball. When we tried to run the ball, there were no holes. when you drop back to pass, KJ drop back to pass, immediate pressure, so with him, like Jeremiah said, KJ Costello processing slowly. I mean, when those guys are coming with their ears pinned back, they know you're not running the ball, so they're just pass rushing. I'm a pass rush like a bat out of hell. So why even pay attention to your run game? Even if you do get a couple of yards, we got 8 guys to come up and stop them from making a long run. So, it's a perfect defense to stop the air raid, in my opinion. But we have to give our quarterback time to throw. And like Arthur said earlier in the show, when Will Rogers came in, the offensive line looked like they played better. So is it really the offensive line or is it who's behind center?
That could
Jeremiah,
be
what
a
do you think?
little. That could be a little physiological too, because a couple of years ago we had the whole controversy with Damian Williams and Nick Fitzgerald, and ultimately, of course, Nick became quarterback. But you would notice that the receivers all of a sudden started making NCAA football type catches when Damian Williams was in the game. When Nick was in the game, it seemed like they didn't want to, sell out. So you kind of just wonder about things like that because KJ ain't helping the guys. Because it was one play I think in particular where you could tell, and it was clear they were going to blitz. Even if they had pulled one guy back, they had walked everybody up on the line. They were coming, and he just held onto the ball. I'm like, you see them coming, as soon as you get that ball, you better already have your hot read. That's why they call him a hot read. So it's kind of like he just don't do that type of stuff. And I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't know if he done lost his confidence. And honestly, he may just be a bad fit for the offense. He's a pro-style quarterback. He may just be used to being in that style of offense, not having to worry about a drop 8. And he just ain't a good fit. And he didn't have enough time to get used to the offense. Like everybody was blaming the receivers and this and that. But you see, when Will came in there, we were able to get some chunk plays. We were able to get some 10, 15-yard plays. It was guys getting in between the zones. But how all of a sudden Will get in the game, we're able to do that. But KJ's in the game, we can't do that the whole game. You got to think about things like that. So, it says not to blame him completely. So he may just not be a fit for the offense. But at the same time, I just kind of wonder, because my thing is, if the question I have, if KJ hadn't had that great first game and we won, and Will Rogers is our quarterback, game 2, 3, and 4, are we 3-1 right now, or are we 1-3?
Man, it's possible we could be 4-0, bro. So if we win the first, if we beat LSU,
I personally think A&M might have just flat been better than us. I think it's fair to say that because they even did pretty well against our defense, even though we made a few mistakes. But at the same time, I think if Will Rogers is our quarterback, I think there's a good chance we're at least 3-1 right now. And that's the thing. Because as I was thinking, like I was driving home, we don't, and I've said before in the show, we don't need our offense to be great or be what the air raid was, once it gets to rolling. We need it to at least be above average. And that's all we need. We don't need the offense to be great. We need it to be above average. And I think Will can do that. So I just hate our next game is against Alabama because
we know they're gonna rush 3, drop 8.
I don't even think that matter against Bama, but Alabama is Alabama. I mean, but we could surprise some people, so who knows? We got a week to let Will kind of get settled in, because if he come out and say that crap that he's gonna see how it goes and see who wins the competition, I'm gonna reach through the screen and almost want to choke him. Because I think at this point it's obvious who our quarterback is. You
can't be threatening the city football coaches, Jeremiah.
I'm saying figuratively. Come on.
I know. I'm just making the joke, dude.
Like I'm saying is, if Mike Leach or anybody in the Mississippi State Athletic Program, y'all better not have Mike Leach come out there and say anything other than Will Rogers is our starter going forward. He should say nothing else. Like that ain't the dog on KJ, but he done had a large enough sample size. It's time for somebody new.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so wait, whoa, hold on. Nah, I'm gonna wait on it. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Okay. So what were you about to say, Derek?
I was just gonna say it's really time, like you said, it's really time to go ahead and move forward with the freshman. I mean, he outperformed KJ this game. Aside from the 2 interceptions against Kentucky, I mean, he looked more comfortable in the offense. As far as how he looks when he dropping back, scanning the field for receivers. So, and it's also been rumored that he's actually been right there with KJ all along. So if he's right there right there with a senior, a quarterback who has FBS experience. Me roll with the freshman, bro. I mean, I understand KJ Costello's potential draft pick, which been sunk now. But hey, I mean, it's proven that you don't have to play to be a NFL player. Look at Matt Castle and play a down at USC, end up outshining Matt Leinart. So
But
roll
that's,
freshman.
that's different. I
I'm
mean,
just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe Leach wants to roll with KJ to help him get into the league. But right now, I really feel like you need to salvage this season, and you need to salvage it with the guy who's going to be here playing for you for the next 3 years, and that is Will Rogers.
truth be told, I'm KJ. I opt out. I think KJ should opt out and just prepare for the draft. I'm just being real with you. I think he should. I think he should opt out. But that's just me.
Speaking of
All he
opting
got left
out,
is to destroy his reputation.
Well, I mean, my thing is, at this point, I think Will Rogers is the guy. What is the point of you sitting up behind somebody for the rest of the season? You might as well just prepare for the draft. He's gonna get drafted. Like, he's a draftable player. Like,
well, last week I said that I feel that the whole team should decide that they're not gonna play the rest of the season to bring awareness to social justice.
well, maybe that's why Kylan Hill sat out today.
Up. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about it. Why not, right? So, as y'all may have noticed, Kylan Hill was not on the field today, and nobody gave him. They're just we're surprised that this didn't happen sooner. Like, as soon as he started talking about malcontents and purging, I already knew that he was talking about Kylan Hill. I mean, it is what it is. Now, Derek was like, should we talk about it? I'm like, the cat's out the bag, dog. Everybody already.
Why shouldn't we talk about it? That's what I'm
like,
trying to figure out.
well, I know you want to talk about it because it just gives you more ammunition to rag on Kylan and say that you're right about it.
I already knew this. This ain't nothing I didn't know. Any more rag on and give me no more ammunition. I don't want to see the kid get suspended or nothing like that. But I mean, this is kind of what I've been talking about.
So, Jeremy, let me ask you this: from your sources, is it a suspension or what? Because he's on Instagram, not Instagram, Twitter,
Facebook.
talking about how it wasn't a suspension and he not off the team. And I'm like, well, what the was it then? And as somebody pointed out, it's a good thing he ain't playing because all that's gonna happen, he'll go get hit twice and fake injured the rest of the game.
I will say that one gambling site and what they said about him was pretty jacked up, but other than that, that was pretty much.
I ain't gonna lie, I laughed.
Of course,
I was
you
like,
did.
yeah, that's a little mean for a college player. I wouldn't even say you would say that about a pro player. I was like, wow, they're not even Mississippi State people in there saying that about him.
I've heard Paul Kylan worse.
Hilarious. I don't know what you mean by that. But
but do you think we're gonna see Kylan Hill going forward in the Mississippi State Bulldogs uniform?
If I was him, I'd go find a hobby and opt out for social justice or some crap anyway. He'd already made it on the to the what did I say? I think last week I was talking about the Social Justice Hall of Fame, the Mount Rushmore. He's up there with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X now. So
sure.
How so?
I think he's proven everything that he can possibly prove in the MSU uniform. They're not gonna run the ball with him. They trying to destroy his good name and reputation in the community. I think it's time for him to move on. I don't know why the freak he came back in the first place.
He would have got drafted last year if he'd have stayed in the draft. He was going to get drafted.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you though. If he sits out the rest of the season, I don't think he gets drafted.
Yes, he is. If he goes to the combine and shows out, somebody will take a chance on him. I mean, hey,
you gotta look at it. Kylan Hill,
I mean, did anybody think that Willie Gay was gonna show out at the combine like he showed out?
Yes.
I mean, everyone knew Willie Gay was.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I fully expected Willie Gay to do what he did.
Everybody expected Willie Gay to do that.
Now, with that
so
being
y'all
said,
aren't expecting Kylan to have a good performance at the combine?
I feel as though Kylan Hill's career has been fake news. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because here's the thing. It's kind of like when Malik Newman was at Mississippi State and you knew he was this big time prospect or whatever, and you would go out there and watch the games and he was like egregiously average. He would have his moments and stuff like that. But you'll be watching the game like, okay, any moment now he's gonna have this big breakout game. Any moment is gonna come at any time, and it just never came. There's all these 200-yard rushing performances against Northeast Alabama State University and stuff like that. But where's his signature game? He doesn't have his Josh Robinson against LSU or like even against Kentucky that one year. Kentucky was all right that year. You don't have that Josh Robinson moment like that. You don't have his like the booby moments and stuff like that where they went up against the best teams and stuff like that. Heck, even what old boy name was
Vic Ballard.
Yeah, Vic Ballard. He doesn't like even what the guy name is, the one that was from Greenville who played for like the Colts or something like that. But he was like an Ole Miss killer.
Ladarius Perkins.
That's it. Like he doesn't really have any of those moments. He has a bunch of he jumps over somebody every game. I don't know what that's about.
So basically,
fake runs into people when he's running out of bounds. He always kind of lunges. So basically, hits the guy near him.
Feel like Collins' legacy is he didn't show up in the big games.
Right. I feel as though that he got a bunch of yards, kind of like everything that Jeremiah said about Chad Bumphus applies to him. Like he would go out there and catch for 200 yards against Memphis or something like that. But when the Alabama game rolled around, you didn't hear from. Remember Justin Jeremiah?
Alabama shut Leonard Fournette down, bro. Alabama does that to people, to teams.
I mean,
when has our team shown up against Alabama other than Dak's year?
Stop making excuses.
That's not excuses.
Right.
That's a fact. If you can't blame Colin Hill if the whole team is sucking. If the offensive line,
what about all the other? Alabama's not the only good team we faced, and he hadn't showed up.
Our man's and them, Justin was a freaking walk-on the team, and even he had a signature game against Auburn. Like he would not have won that game without Justin. He just got in and just ran forward. With Kylan, like I say, it's like a bunch of hype around him. But if you really pay attention, I'm like, that's why I said the other day when he got hurt or whatever, I was like, I don't feel like he's just.
And here's a fun fact.
Let him finish, Jeremiah. Let Arthur finish, Jay.
What I was about to say is that Kylan Hill has spent even his high school career being not Cam
Akers.
Cam Akers. Yeah, he spent his whole career being not Cam Akers. Cam Akers is Greenville and Kylan Hill is Greenwood. Like it's like he made his whole career off of being like great value Cam Akers. Like even when he was in high school, it was like, well, we didn't get Cam Akers, but we got Cam Akers at home. Cam Akers at home is Kylan Hill.
And to keep it even more 100, I know they have done all these stories about where Kylan Hill is from and all this different type of stuff. I'm from Columbus. Don't nobody be talking about Kylan Hill like that. Like, I mean, let's stop that. And the thing is,
for a fact, though.
What you know about that?
I'm from Columbus. I know that for a fact.
You at NATO?
They don't. Nobody I'm from Columbus. Nobody be like, oh man, Kylan Hill just ripping it up, bro. Like nobody's doing that.
The man got a statue, got a painting, a mural of him in town. Do you?
In some little part of the town that nobody ever talks about.
That's where his family from, man. That's where he from.
Okay.
Whatever the little community is, I can't remember the name of it.
Sure. But at the same time, it's just like I think this mythical Kylan Hill person that people have created, like he's some legendary Mississippi State running back. He's not even in the top 10 of MSU running backs.
We've been waiting to see him become this Mississippi State legend, and he's gonna be a Heisman contender and all that crap. And it just never happened. Like I say, it's like now I give Victoria Vivians a hard time, but Victoria Vivians pretty much she did what she was supposed to do. Like there were moments where I wish that she could have done better or whatnot, but she definitely elevated the
program,
Mississippi State program. Yeah, like everything that we have today in the women's basketball program is built on Victoria Vivians deciding to come to Mississippi State University. And all those, she had to make 100 shots to score 40-something points and stuff like that. But you know,
Kendrick's chiming in right now.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, she was as advertised. I mean, I can't. But with Kylan Hill, it's like everybody like, oh my God, what are we gonna do without Kylan Hill? And I'm like, ooh,
play the game.
Yeah, like we're really gonna miss the 50 yards that he was gonna give us today, and before he got hurt, and had to sit out for a quarter.
I mean, can he go a whole game without pulling the Charles Rhodes? And shout out Jamont. And here's the thing. Here's a fun fact as well. Did you notice in the 2 games that Kylan Hill's been going? Like, the one game he got hurt on the first play of the game, I think, and then this game he was suspended. You notice we ran the ball more in those games,
right? And Dylan Johnson and
but the yardage did not showcase. I mean, still didn't run
because we got sacked 6 times.
Okay,
but we still ran the ball more.
I mean, so I think
Mark had 7 carries for 25 yards. Johnson had 3 carries for 7 yards. Whoopee for 32 yards rushing.
We still ran it more though. So it's kind of like Michael Irvin said years ago. It's kind of like Michael Irvin said years ago to Keyshawn Johnson. Like Keyshawn Johnson said, like, man, you can't be calling us a bunch of number 2 receivers. He was like, first down, the team go to somebody else. Second down, they go to somebody else. Third down, they go to somebody else. Fourth down, they go to somebody else. I'm not calling you a number 2 receiver. Your team is. So in Kylan Hill's case, we get in this game, we run the ball more, and we try to run the ball more early in the game with these other running backs. Maybe there's a reason they're not giving him more touches.
So now you're trying to say that Kylan Hill is not a good running back?
I'm not saying he's good, just saying he's not that tough.
Are you?
They say it may be a reason he's not carrying the ball that much. Well, just saying. So you're telling me you got young running backs.
I'd rather have a Vic Ballard type of running back on our team than a Kylan Hill any freaking moment.
Running sideways.
Well,
not cutting up
I'm going to be the only pro Kylan Hill voice on this podcast.
You probably the only pro Kylan Hill person in MSU Nation.
No, that's not true. While I can criticize the fact that there are some times where he does need to run north instead of east and west. The young man has played his heart out for Mississippi State when he's talked about. While you guys may not appreciate his efforts, I'm going to appreciate his efforts as a member of the Mississippi State Bulldogs football team. And I do hope he gets a chance to bounce back within his senior year. I mean, a lot of rumors were like, oh, he's kicked out the team. He's suspended for the season. He's suspended for this game. He's going to opt out or whatever because he made that tweet about preparing for the next level. I mean, we don't necessarily know what it was. We're all left to speculate. But I feel like this here. This young man has helped us win a lot of games.
Which one?
He's helped us win a lot of games. And
which one?
Teams have keyed on him. So the man he led the ACC in rushing last year. So when we had terrible games, the whole team played terrible. So you can't just blame Kylan Hill for the team's struggles against better teams. Those teams just were better than us. Now, maybe if the team executed a little better, perhaps other facets of the game would have gone better. Now, granted, like I said, my only criticism of him is when he should be running north and south, he does try to wiggle a little too much. But most running backs do that. They're trying to fake it.
Oh, my God.
Man, Derek, I ain't gonna lie to you,
right now.
You on this man so hard that I'm about to send you a walking cane and a monitor.
The man can't do no right in y'all eyes.
I ain't gonna say
anybody doing no right.
He can't do no right. He can't do no right.
I'm not gonna say what part of his body you own because it would be disrespectful. But I'm gonna say I'm about to give you a monocle for your eye and a cane.
Now, and here's a statement. There's 2 things I'll say. One, first, think about this statement. Even in the Sports Illustrated article that they wrote about Kylan and where he was from and how that one tweet changed the world and everything under the sun. They said once he made the tweet, his brother's friends texted him and was like, "Man, bro, man, your brother done went too far this time." Like they didn't even believe him. So you telling me he tweets about the flag and his? Go ahead.
I'll say this about that tweet. I was an avid hater of that flag. If you recall, when we were in college, I was trying to have a whole freaking rally to get rid of the flag that, by the way, none of you losers would join. But yeah, so I don't really care how the flag got taken down as long as it did, even though I will say that, yeah, I rolled my eyes or whatever, but it is what it is.
Well, according to his aunt, he didn't even mean it like that, but then he still gets a story written about him, but that's whatever.
Are you jealous?
Okay, as the host, let me
jealous
go
of what?
Oh God!
I'm just saying, you know
what?
Are you jealous? Are you jealous of him?
I'm gonna let this ride for a few seconds.
So now you really
I'm just asking, are you jealous of Kyler Hill?
What am I jealous of?
I'm just saying it's like the man can't do nothing right. I mean, you're always negative. I don't ever remember hearing you saying much positive about him since we've been on this
I've
podcast.
stated that he's a good football player. What do you want me to say? Kyler Hill's a drama queen.
Are you mad because
and I think he's detrimental to the team?
He's a football player from Columbus. That's when you from Columbus and you weren't as good as him playing football.
Bro, like it ain't that deep. You really reaching right now.
Maybe,
really are.
Maybe so, but you always negative. Tremendously negative on the young man. You know what I'm saying?
My God, man!
According to you, he can't do anything right. According to you,
he's a drama queen. He's dragging the team down. You want to talk about sources and different things like that? I was talking to someone today that was talking about that, how he's bringing down certain other players on the team. He's rubbing off on the team. He's the last remnants of that Jamal Peters, Stephen Guidry, all them little drama queens that we had on the football teams. Players like him are dragging down the culture of the team. He's a drama queen. He don't produce when he's supposed to produce. He is. So you saying something about somebody calling it like I see him is just wrong. Same way people got mad at me because I was hard on Chad Bumpus for years. I was hard on Chad Bumpus. And he got all the records at Mississippi State, but he didn't even get drafted. So
okay, wait a second. It's somebody, there was a tweet that he made that I'm looking for. But yeah, like
Jonathan Thompson says you're bitter, Jeremiah.
Who said that?
Jonathan Thompson says seems like old dude from Columbus is a bit bitter.
Now,
how you making it out to be?
Jonathan,
don't blame it on me. He's
going on talking like, man, you're blaming a young man.
Don't be trying to make like I'm the one making you look like a bitter beer face over there. You make yourself look like that.
I mean, but Derek, cool. Like I say, you on a certain part of their main body. I ain't gonna say which one, but I'm gonna just ask you: is this salted or unsalted?
I'm a Kyler Hill fan.
Okay.
I'm a Kyler Hill fan. You know what I'm saying? While I do think he could do some things differently, I generally want the young man to be successful. He's not as bad as y'all are making him to seem to be. Because none of us know what the young man goes through every day. You don't know.
Oh my! He tells us what are you talking about.
We can sit here and speculate. We can sit here and speculate on things, but you don't necessarily know what's causing him to react the way he reacts. He's a very emotional young man. Where it's just
right. He's God.
Maybe he could get control of his emotions a little more, but I hope that he gets a chance to come back and have a good senior year. If not, then maybe it's time to prepare for the draft.
Man, that dude got popped out, man. You already know that.
So
anyway, so let's get to the point that I was about to say. How much is the coaching? Matter of fact, we go skip. Let's go to is Mike Leach in the air raid offense fake news? Can we make that determination? Is it a situation? Because a lot of people, like I see Washington State fans coming in and saying, you got to make sure that he gets rid of all the bad apples like Kylan Hill, and he's got to get his guys into place. And then after, 2-3 years, y'all will be able to go 7-5 like we did with him. So is it a situation like that where we got to give him time, or have we seen enough to know that, this probably isn't going to work out?
The offense.
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
I'm gonna start off with Jeremiah. Why not, right?
I mean, just looking at the pattern, they said the offense typically struggles at first. We're kind of seeing that. We're seeing what it possibly could look like with Will, and I want to see a sample size with Will at quarterback not the Alabama game, but to see how it looks with Will at quarterback for 3 to 4 games. Now we get to the end of the season and we still just scoring 10 points a game. Yeah, like I don't expect the offense to look great the first year, but it got to look better than that. That's when I'll probably get a little worried. But I want to see how it looks with a quarterback who's running it the right way. It is a specific type of system. I think that's what everybody has to understand. There was a reason that Moorhead struggled as well because he didn't probably have the right personnel to run his system. So Leach, I don't think it's a matter of the talent that we have on the team at the receiver position or running back. I think it's about running the system the right way. Once that's done, if we run it the right way and we still can't move the ball, that's when it's maybe like, okay, maybe this is fake news. But if we start running the offense and it start moving and we start being able to score some points, that's when, we'll see. But I think right now it's kind of hard to tell because KJ was woefully ineffective. I think we were like second in the nation when it came to turnovers, not in a good way.
Well, I mean, like, if you go by the last 3 games, the air raid is right now is failing. Is it the coaching? Is it the players? Is it a mixture of both? Is it due to COVID? I mean, at this point, you have to find a way to put your players in a position to be successful, even though you don't have enough time. Maybe simplify the offense a little bit. Add some wrinkles to your game plan. I believe in Mike Leach. I was happy when he became our head coach. I really feel like he is going to um, be a winner at Mississippi State. I do feel like he may need to run the ball a little more because I went back and looked at the average runs per game, not including quarterback runs, the past 2 years at Washington State. And we're running the ball less than he ran it at Washington State. So you have to run the ball in the SEC to be successful. Even if you want to throw the ball 80 times a game, you still got to run at least 20. Well, I guess if you want to throw the ball 60 times a game, you still got to run at least 20. If you run 80 plays, you have to run the ball. I mean, especially facing defenses that we're going to face, where they're just going to drop 8 in coverage and dare us to run the ball. You have to do something to keep a defense honest in order for the air raid to be successful in this conference. I don't have enough experience watching him game after game at the Washington State or watching game after game at Texas Tech, but the games I watched, the air raid was on fire. So maybe we need to figure out what to do to flip that switch, because even though you've run your system for so long, football is a game of evolution. You have to stay with the times. You have to move with the times. You have to always constantly add new wrinkles to your football, I guess, playbook to take advantage of what you get, what the defense is going to allow you to do. And I really feel like we should run the ball a little more. We should. Like if we've been running it more with Colin out, run a little bit more. One of the things I've seen people complain about with our running game is the offensive line is always moving backwards. And that allows the defensive line to get, I guess you could say, the upper hand as far as attacking our offensive line. Our offensive line is like in retreat mode as far as pass blocking. I really feel like you got to get some fire off the ball with offensive line just so they can be in attack
aggressive.
mode. Right, be in attack mode because, like, when you're an offensive guard and you're leaning forward and you finna fire for the defense, it's different than pass blocking. When you about to engage that guy like that, I mean, your momentum's taking you forward instead of you stepping back. So, I mean, then again, I've never been paid to coach a football game in my life. So what do I know? But I know I want to see Mississippi State be successful. I know that for sure.
I definitely know there's 14 points and 2-point stuff ain't gonna get it though. It's supposed to be some air raid offense, and people thought this year our offense is gonna have a bunch of shootouts. This ain't gonna get it. I'll say that much. Now, I will say I'll be patient with Leach's offense. We're only 4 games into his tenure. I think we're focused so much on it because of the win-loss record more so than anything. Like if we were 3-1 right now, nobody would even be talking no matter what the score was of the games. But we are 1-3, so Leach does have to take that accountability on himself. We want to talk about purging people and things like this. This game had nothing to do with, it seems like, guys not making efforts and things like that. We just got beat. I mean, we made a few missteps, but we got beat. So some of this stuff's starting to come back to coaching. And then at the end of the day, the team didn't sit there and make you wait until the second half to pull KJ Costello when everybody saw you should have did it in the first quarter. And
No,
apparently he had a short
start
leash,
the
but you didn't
game.
pull him. Say what?
Will Rogers should have started this game. Like the man won the competition. Quarterback, whoever wins that quarterback competition in the week, he needs to start. I don't know what goes into that quarterback competition, whatever how they're awarding the belt. But if you win that competition for the week, you need to start.
I think Leach wanted to give KJ a chance. I see what he was trying to do, and I think that's just not his MO to pull quarterbacks and go with multiple quarterbacks in the season. But KJ just was woefully ineffective, and everybody could see it. The turnovers and him not pulling KJ might have could have cost us this game. If you had Will Rogers in there from the first quarter, we might win. In the game, the complexion of the game is completely different. So I think we do need to establish that our offense getting rhythm. Now, Will Rogers might go out there and look horrible against Alabama because they're Alabama. So I don't know if that's the first game you want a guy going in.
He gets a pass.
That is not baptism by fire. Now the kid may go out there and surprise us, but at the same time, I don't know if that's the game I want my true freshman quarterback going out there starting.
We better run the ball against Alabama for sure. We better run the ball.
That don't work when you run a traditional offense. What you think gonna work when you coming out of the spread offense?
I mean, here's the thing. Let's copy whatever Ole Miss did and do it a little better. Maybe we can win. But
you see what happened to Ole Miss this week, right? They didn't do as well.
Yeah, they lost to Arkansas. So I mean, we lost to Arkansas. So Arkansas is now swept the SEC Mississippi schools, which is something that we're not used to have happened.
Now let's look at that now. Arkansas and Kentucky beat Tennessee today, who's ranked.
Did they beat?
So the teams we've lost to, Texas A&M beat Florida, Kentucky beat Tennessee, and Arkansas has played well in most of the games, and they beat, of course, us and other teams. At some point, maybe we've just lost to some really good teams. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of look at it that way too. And a lot of games that we were in, and you talking about woefully ineffective quarterback play. Mm-hmm. And we've been in a lot of these games against these teams that turned out they might be a little better than we thought. So we might have looked at those losses the wrong, because people say Arkansas was the worst team in the SEC, and turning out that may not be the case.
Well, I mean, you have to look at it. Chad Morris did bring in a lot of talent. It just didn't work out with him. You bring in a coach like Sam Pittman, a guy who has coached at Arkansas before. He knows that program inside and out. So I'm just glad they beat Ole Miss, and I'm very glad they beat Ole Miss. Not happy that they beat us, but I'm glad they beat Ole Miss. But the thing is, Jeremiah, what do you think needs to happen with this upcoming bye week to where we can at least have some sort of positive game plan against Alabama?
Kick Colin off the team, start Will Rogers, and just move forward.
Why you want to kick Colin off the team, man?
I am telling you, I think you need to do that. Like I'm telling you,
So you're ready to move forward from the Colin?
Yes. Move KJ Costello is your third string quarterback. You put Maiden at the 2 or Garrett Schrader, whoever. Make him Will Rogers your 1. Go with them young running backs and just move forward and play the season out and let chips fall where they may.
So do you think Schrader should be moved back to quarterback since he's not really getting
honestly, heck no. But at the same time, no, Schrader ain't got no business playing quarterback in this offense at all. Like at all. So I think your 1 is Will Rogers, your 2 is Maiden, and then you just move forward. Like if push comes to shove, you put Costello in, unless he opts out. I think you move forward with the young guys and just let them learn the offense. I think that's our best hope at this point. Because, I mean, what are you really playing for right now? Like, are you playing for just a decent little bowl game? I mean,
playing for pride right now.
I mean, but it ain't about getting ready for next year, but I think the win-loss record won't really be a difference. KJ, like, we're going to lose if KJ's the quarterback, and then Collins only dragging the team down. So
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you saying.
I've heard different, but I've heard different.
I know you have some of the best inside sources. Sources better than I have. As far as people that I know, as far as people that I know, you're connected to. So, but I mean, I will hope that's not the case, but I can only speak from my point of view. Where we at now, Arthur? You're muted.
Okay, so we're at the point where I was gonna stir the pot by saying that it seems as though that Jeremiah is suggesting that Kylan Hill is a cancer, and that the sooner we cut ties with him, the better off we'll be because he's a malcontent who is dragging people down with him. Would that be an accurate statement, Jeremiah?
Yep.
Oh, that sounds about right. Okay, so we have established that we think that Leach might not be fake. Well, I have always said that he was fake news from the word go. I am.
Other than you were so honored when you had a chance to interview him, but
All right,
Yeah,
so
because, I mean, he's a legend, but I still didn't think that crap was gonna work. I mean,
So,
it is.
I'm
I am
reading. I'm reading
It
the
ain't
chat.
like
So somebody, Jonathan Thompson says, Colin isn't the problem that some think he is. I have family in the locker room, and right now, a lot of people are making him the scapegoat.
oh, okay.
sure.
Oh, okay. You
I
know,
heard another person told me earlier today who knows someone who's in the locker room, and he says that Colin is bringing that person down. So we're saying,
my name Bennett on that one, but
yeah,
my thing is that is there a difference between I do make the distinction between it is possible for him to do the stuff that he does online, and that doesn't mean that he's a cancer in the locker room or anything like that. So I don't think that those two things are necessarily hand in hand. They probably are, but not necessarily. Now, what was I about to say? So I said from the word go that this Mike Leach hire was fake news. I respect what he did at Texas Tech. I respect what he did at Washington State. But as I've always stated, even when he was at Texas Tech, like, yeah, they would beat up on like Baylor or something. Remember, this is back when Baylor was trash. You know, they'd put up 60 something on Baylor, and you know, they'd put up 50 on Texas, but they still end up losing by 15 and all of that good stuff. You know, it's one of those offenses that if the other person, the other team know what they're doing, like they could still you know, it could be contained or whatever. You could scheme against it. You could, you know, out coach them. And if you took it away from them, then they were just up the creek. Also, I've stated several times that Washington State, when he was at Washington State, that they were like okay or whatever, but the Pac-12 has been wide open the last two seasons, and he didn't win the son of a gun. Now, maybe I'm old, I'm going to age myself, but that was it Mark Price, the dude who went to Alabama from Washington State, and he had the strippers or whatever.
although Hugh Freeze.
Yeah,
I know you talking about Mike Price. I know you talking about.
He did really, really well at Washington State. And let's see, yeah, they won the 2002 Pac-12 championship. You won two Pac-12 championships. So this fake news narrative that, oh, well, you know, Washington State is Washington State, so nobody can win there. I never bought that crap because when Mike Price was there, they were talking about them possibly playing the national championship games and stuff like that. But what else? Okay. Let's go on to the subject. Was KJ Costello fake news? Y'all say that the jury is still out on Mike Leach. Are we firmly in KJ Costello is fake news and we got catfish territory? Derek.
Yes, I know he had that record-breaking performance against LSU, but these last three games have been hot garbage. I mean, y'all know I'm not necessarily want to be negative toward players, but good grief for life, man. I'm thoroughly disappointed in his play and just how he is handling the quarterback position. You know, he holds the ball too long. How do you let a guy who's never played college football come in and just outperform you like that? Even if you played in the Pac-12, you see a blister coming at you, get rid of the ball. Like, bruh, you know, like all the sacks he took today, man, get rid of the ball. So yeah, he's fake news.
Okay. Are you willing to admit what I said, that you should have known that he was fake news when he got beat out at Stanford, and that potential first round picks, don't get beat out and have to transfer.
No, I'm not going to admit it.
No,
I'm not
I'm
going to
going with
admit it.
I'm asking it to Derek.
Oh no, I'm not going to admit it because you know what? He's being too greedy. He's not taking what the defense is giving him, and he's making bad decisions. So I mean, his quote unquote draft status is based off that season he played, where he had an unbelievable year, and then of course he got injured the next year. And coach, we'll say what we're doing now: go with the young guy, and that's what the coach at Stanford was going to do. We're gonna go with the young guy, So just a unfortunate circumstances for KJ Costello to possibly get run off from another Power 5 school.
I get run off, but
all right, Jeremiah, same thing to you. Is KJ Costello fake news? And was he the whole time?
I don't believe that. I think it's an offense that he probably wasn't ready to really fully grasp. I don't know. I do think there's some processing things going on with him. He got some, not mechanical, but just some, I won't say intangibles, just some quarterbacking things he needs to fix. But I definitely don't think he was fake news. I think he's a good quarterback. And to touch on what you were saying about him getting beat out, you have to look at the fact that Joe Burrow got beat out at Ohio State by Dwayne Haskins. And I mean, Dwayne Haskins just got benched, and then Joe Burrow got drafted number 1. So I don't think you can't really get caught up on that stuff sometimes. And you look at Jacob Eason got beat out by, what was the other guy's name? He got beat out and he ended up having to transfer to Washington. So that stuff happens, man. If it's like a bang situation and you can transfer and be a for sure starter somewhere, guys just do that. And maybe he did want to throw the ball around a little bit more. Now I do feel like he's pressing, and I feel like he kind of got, I guess, the football equivalence of the Lawrence Roberts syndrome, where, I mean, typically it happens to players who've been at Mississippi State a while, but I think he started, instead of shooting a bunch of threes like Lawrence Roberts, I think he started trying to, like that first particular interception he threw, there was no earthly reason. Like the announcer even said, there was nobody there. The guy wasn't open. He just trying to take strikes just to take strikes instead of just taking what the defense give him. We were moving the ball. And that set the tone for the whole rest of the game. So it's kind of, like I said, I would have pulled him after that. So it's just those type of plays. He's trying to get on SportsCenter and trying to build his draft stock instead of just, now he done jacked up his draft stock by not taking what the defense give him. Now he look like a quarterback who has no confidence. He hasn't grown. He'll still get drafted. He's talented enough to get drafted, but he done probably went from a first round guy to a late round guy for sure.
Okay, so who's gonna get drafted first, him or Kylan Hill?
Well, Kylan, I don't think he's gonna.
What is in that damn container, dude? What is in there? Like,
well, considering I think he's gonna actually get drafted, Kylan won't.
Why do you think Kylan won't get drafted?
I'll tell you why. He doesn't have top end speed. He runs soft. He's gonna be more drama than it's worth. And the most telling part is he led the SEC in rushing, and he still came back to school. Name me the last running back to lead the SEC in rushing that wasn't an underclassman that was eligible. I'll put it that way. That was eligible and didn't go pro.
You got me there, bro.
So that's to tell you everything you need to know. He may actually test well for all I know, but I just don't see.
So if he tests well, then what?
It'll probably still be a late round pick. He's gonna be more trouble than he's worth.
You ever hear of Percy Harvin, who basically led the Seattle Seahawks to the Super Bowl, to their Super Bowl win? Like, he goes to every team that he goes to, he's a freaking beast. The guy was a stud at Florida, and he gets cut from every freaking team that he is a part of, and he ain't in the league no more. Do you know how bad that dude had to suck to be that good of a football player? And still get cut from everywhere.
Now, even I don't think Colin that type of bad. I just think he's too much of a drama queen, too emotional. Like, I don't think he's the type that's in the locker room. Say what?
Harvin was a beast and was getting cut. So just imagine what's going to happen to Kylan.
Percy Harvin was doing stuff like fighting coaches in college and stuff. So he like that type of malcontent. And
but he was like a freaking beast, so he got a shot.
So you guys don't think that Kylan can mature at all from his youthful issues. So you just condemn somebody. Jeremiah, didn't you used to be a troublemaker at one point in your life?
Honestly, no. Actually, I wasn't.
So you ain't never. So
I don't
you
know
ain't
where you
never.
got that from.
Now you told me some things like, oh, that you're a different person that you were now. You know, people can grow, bruh. How can you
I
say?
wasn't no troublemaker though. I
Wait,
never
Hey,
was
but
a
I'm just saying, how can
troublemaker
you
in
say that
school.
someone came mature from
wait.
21 years old
Now,
to getting older and
as
making?
a person who knew Jeremy back when he was 21, he's basically the same person that he was then. And let's be honest with you. By the time somebody turned 21, for the most part, they kind of are who they are. Like there's a couple of
Nah,
niggas
that's not always true.
hey,
That's not always true.
I guess, but like I
People
say,
can mature
Jeremy about the
past.
same as he was then when he was 21. And I hadn't changed a little bit, but for the most part, when we
Yeah,
were
I was saying,
when
AJ's
we
always been AJ.
yeah, I mean, I'm still calling Jeremiah Jeremy to get on his nerves for no apparent reason. Same stuff I do when we was 18.
I mean, it's the same guy. I know. Me and AJ was on the phone the other day, and I was talking about college memories. I looked back and saw something from like 2011. I think that was like a trend on Facebook at the time. And one of my college memories, where he called another buddy of ours, Dave. Like, hey, David Ruffin in the Temptation. he did this. This is when we were freshmen in college. I mean, he would do that type of stuff.
I mean, I still call people nicknames that I called them when we were
still
young.
wearing the David Ruffin glasses too. If your mama watching, inbox me. She bad in a
boy. All right, where we going to next?
All right, so what we're supposed to be talking about now is will we win another game?
Yeah, we'll win a game.
I mean, I think we'll beat Vandy, and I hope we can beat Ole Miss, but we're not beating Alabama. We're not beating Auburn.
What? Don't beat Auburn. They're beatable.
Man, I don't think I don't know. I feel like every game is in the air.
I don't know. Every game's in the air. I mean, the thing is, we got to get our offense together. But Auburn ain't just like trill like that. And just watching the A&M game, we didn't make mistakes. We would have been in that one. So truth be told, we easily could be 4-0 right now. So they're not saying we're gonna run the table.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we haven't seen anything that's gonna make a defense change how they're going to attack our offense. Rush 3, drop 8. You can get pressure against our offensive line with 3 guys. Let your 8 defenders stop whatever passing plays we're gonna try. Now, granted, here's the thing. I really feel like if you look at the past couple of games, we haven't really thrown the ball down the field. And I was actually surprised that KJ Costello took that shot because against Arkansas and Kentucky, we didn't really take that many shots downfield.
Because they didn't give it to us. Same way they didn't give it to us.
Texas A&M didn't give it to us either. Shit.
Yeah, they didn't give it to us, but he still threw the ball anyway. That's on him.
So, I mean, I can maybe Will came in the game. We were able to get the 2 plays down the field.
But
that was, Malik Keith taking the ball and then running it. So, I mean, we really didn't like.
That still was like a 15. That was a chunk play. That still was a chunk play. That's what the offense is really built for. Mike Leach offense isn't traditionally built to throw a bunch of deep fade because a lot of those plays that we got touchdowns on against LSU, they were one-on-one plays. They were man-to-man. And a lot of them were just quick little fade routes and stuff. They weren't 50-yard passes or nothing. They were just 10-yard, 15-yard passes. So his offense isn't really designed for that. So
which begs the question, why are we doing so bad considering that Pac-12 don't even play man-to-man?
I mean, he probably got the thing about it. They even said at Washington State, the team didn't do well the first year. They were 3-9 or something like that. And the offense doesn't normally do well the first year because guys got to get used to it. Now, he usually doesn't have the defense that we do have. Now, my hope is that our defense can hold serve this year and just grow and develop, and we don't lose the defensive coordinator going into next season. So, no, we're not going to make a big bowl this year, but we can still establish the season. Vanderbilt's beatable. Ole Miss is beatable. Auburn is beatable. And then you're looking at Missouri.
Now, you say that we can't get into a bowl game, but they waived it.
No. I didn't say bowl game. I said big bowl game. Like, obviously, a New Year's Six type bowl is out of the question. I mean, not like we make more a lot of those.
We're a 3-loss squad.
I feel like we should, like, if we went to the Liberty Bowl, even though I feel like the Liberty Bowl would go after Ole Miss, but if we got the Liberty Bowl, like, I would so go to it.
I mean, being 5-5 or a record like that, that'll be something to build off of. And I mean, it's growing pains coming with an offense like this. We knew it would be. Maybe not to this level. I don't think KJ Costello was fake news in regards to like that did hurt us. KJ just woefully struggled in this offense. Hopefully Will is the starter moving forward. But I mean that stunted our growth. And I think now we have to adjust. So how do we salvage the season now at this point? Like it is possible to get to 5-5. I think our defense is too good to not say we don't have a puncher's chance. Because no matter how you shake it, most of these games we've been in. So
you do realize that a puncher's chance is about offense, right?
Well, I mean, the defense gives us a chance to stay in games because the defense is pretty good. I mean, even they only would have probably scored 14 points if it wasn't for that block punt. And then the other one was like, well, KJ just decided, hey, I'm gonna just fumble the ball to you.
Well, he didn't. He got hit and the ball got knocked out his hand. So
sure.
But I really need to see some improvement from our offensive line as well because if you can't block anybody, you're not going to have much success at all, especially if you can't block 3 people.
Whew, I mean, playoffs. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I need to see what Will Rogers does, but
yeah, give him a chance. We gotta wait on that. I think.
And that Bama game ain't gonna be the game to evaluate, like you said.
Yeah, like I'm not.
Unless he just happens to show out,
Playoffs.
I mean, I watched Alabama a little this season. I think their quarterback's a little just all right. He had a pretty good year, but the rest of the team,
man,
boy.
That running back, man, I do not want to see him.
Yeah, I don't think we played a team with that type of power at the running back position.
Now, I'm going to say this. I was just looking at the records of Mike Leach's teams. And once again, the theme of when they played big teams, they got mollywopped is a consistent one. So even when he was at Washington State and they were doing good, they were still capable of being shut down by, once again, teams that was actually worth a blankety blank blank.
I will say we have more talent than some of the teams he's had at Washington State. I'll say that.
They was getting shut down and only scoring 7 and 14 against freaking Washington.
What I'm saying is we have more talent than those teams. I do think that's important to know.
Oh, okay.
Bill Belichick and Nick Saban.
But the thing is that the teams that we're playing against have more talent too.
This is so off the beaten path. What do y'all think about Nick Saban being able to be cleared like a player for a game today?
Man, let that man coach in the press box like Hugh Freeze coaching a hospital bed.
Right.
You can't even have contact with your team if you. I think they say you can't even have a phone conversation. Although I'm sure people do.
If you're positive with COVID.
Yeah, you can't even talk on the phone, which don't make any sense.
That is dumb.
I don't even get the logic.
Going on up and down the line somewhere. You can't convince me that this fool went from having freaking coronavirus 3-4 days ago to suddenly he don't anymore.
They treating it like it's the regular flu.
Maybe he's immune to it.
No, I don't know about all that. I've heard that you can test negative pretty quick, but the way he had it, just the way it happened, I kind of was like, you would think in a situation like this, you test positive, like, all right, I'm just going to sit out the game on Saturday. But they were like, no, there's still a chance he could be cleared. I'm like, what? He just tested positive on Tuesday.
What did you think about Dan Mullen getting it after saying that they need to pack up the stadium?
Hilarious. It's the most Donald Trump-ish stuff ever.
Hey, look, do not let COVID-19 dominate your life, okay? Donald Trump say that he got COVID-19 and he's stronger than he has ever been. So
sound like Emperor Palpatine, man.
Check this out. Think about the Tennessee Titans, right? Half the freaking team had coronavirus, and they came out and beat the tar off of the Buffalo Bills. You know why? They got COVID-19. Maybe COVID-19 is like Tommy John surgery. You know how like guy go get Tommy John surgery, come back harder?
Nah. Well, you got to look it hadn't really been too many athletes. I know it was one guy's like a D3 player. I think he passed away from COVID-19. But a lot of athletes, when they get it, a lot of times they end up being asymptomatic. Because you got to think these are guys who are, especially guys in the middle of a season, you working out, you getting the best treatment, you get the best vitamins, you work out every day. Like you easily can fight it off. Most of them are asymptomatic. So I don't think it's as big a deal to a lot of athletes. I saw one athlete Mo Bamba for the Orlando Magic. I think he had some issues with stamina and such, his conditioning after the fact. But for the most part, it doesn't really bring a lot of harm to guys. So
in conclusion, as we wrap up tonight's reaction show, we want to say that if you are living in Mississippi, don't be afraid of COVID-19.
And Jay Short does not hate Colin Hill.
Go out to the state fair, okay? Don't even wear a mask when you go out there. Go get you a
Arthur Hosey's comments are not supported by those of the Black Dog Sports Podcast.
Go get you a pork chop on a stick, a funnel cake, whatever you want to, and don't let COVID-19 don't let it dominate you. No, do not do that. Okay, I am being facetious. Do not do that. I am not going out to their state fair. As much as I love them free giving away biscuits, I am not taking my happy-go-lucky tail out to this doggone state fair. So that is what it is. So okay, so we at the end now, and I'm ready to cry. So I finally figured out what our new our new outro thing is gonna be. Okay, so it ain't we finally over, praise the Lord and go Dogs. So will KJ Costello stop throwing interceptions? Will Kylan Hill be back on the team? Will Kylan Hill run for 100 yards?
You know, on the next episode.
Yeah. Will Mike Leach turn out to not be fake news? Will we win another game? Find out these answers and more on the next episode of the Black Dog Sports Podcast.
That's a good one. I like that.